I'm slicker than 1,000 baby oil bottles. If you ask him, did he do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm popping models. If you... Welcome to the No Cap Zone. I'm your host, A.P.T. Songs. And today, guys, we are talking about Diddy. As you guys know, Sean, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Diddy Combs, whatever you want to call him, is currently sitting in jail on charges of sex trafficking and, of course, of doing various abusive things to a variety of women over time. Now, he has a hard case ahead of him because prior to him even going to jail, a lot of evidence came out that was indicative of him being into some pretty crass, cruel, and illegal things. You know, obviously his place got raided by the feds. They found 1,000 baby oil bottles, which is why I made a song about that. And then of course, there was the video that came out that showed him abusing his ex-girlfriend, Cassie. Now, at the time, before that video came out, he was trying to say, well, no, she's saying that I abused her and that didn't happen and how dare she besmirch my name and I'm gonna, follow her to the depths of the earth to make sure that people know that this didn't happen. And that was when she had put out a lawsuit against him claiming all this abuse and he was saying, no, that didn't happen. And then the next day he settled it like right away. And at the time he was just trying to be like, oh, I just wanna get past this or whatever. Obviously we all found out from that videotape that came out last year of him abusing her in the hotel room near the elevators, that he was in fact a very abusive guy. He tried to put out an apology message, and of course the public at large was like, but dude, you said that you never did this. And now you're saying that you did this after video came out showing that you did this. So anyway, he's been in jail for a while now, and obviously everybody's got their right to their day in court. And so his court case is gonna be on and popping come May of 2025, which is in a couple of months. So of course, in order to do that, you gotta get together a legal team. And so he has, or had 6 lawyers that were set to try to help and defend him, right? So this week, one of his former lawyers, now former lawyer, came out and said, and I'm gonna quote this from the article that I saw. So his lawyer was named Anthony Ricco. And Anthony Ricco, this according to this Yahoo article, said that he is withdrawing from Diddy's defense team. And he says, quote, under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, according to an affidavit. And so he has to go through some stuff to make sure that he's officially removed. But he says in the affidavit, he did not want to divulge information protected by attorney-client privilege when explaining why the request was so brief. I can only speculate because I'm clearly not there on court with them. I would not want to be. I'd love to be a person that can watch the trial. Hopefully they're going to televise this whole thing. But I can speculate at least 2 reasons why it is that this man would decide he no longer wanted to work with Diddy. The first one is blatantly obvious because, again, the fact that the public at large already has a plenty good amount of evidence to go on that Diddy most likely probably did do most of the stuff that he's being accused of. Like, again, if you have the Cassie video out, there's gotta be like other things of evidence that have come out just in the discovery period that make it look like, oh yeah, like this man most likely probably did this stuff. Like it'd be hard to imagine between the feds finding baby oil bottles and being able to seize computers that potentially have evidence on it, or other video cam of other celebrities being at these various freak-offs that he was throwing, of other celebrities that may have said in the past that, oh, Diddy abused me, or just not even celebrities, just like other women that came forth and said, yeah, Diddy did this thing. There could potentially be other evidence of that. Lord knows, if they were having as many freak-offs as you can imagine, there might be DNA evidence. We don't know what's going on, but there's probably a treasure trove of evidence that this lawyer, Anthony, is looking at and saying, oh, we don't stand a chance to win in court. Now again, everybody gets their day in court, but if he's looking objectively at this stuff and seeing how all these things connect to Diddy by way of, I don't know, them being in his house, by way of him saying stuff on tape, then it becomes a situation where it's gonna be very, very hard to defend a man that's claiming to be innocent when so much evidence is pointing towards him potentially being guilty. So that's the first potential possibility. But here's the other reason why I feel as though maybe this lawyer decided to jump ship. And it's because Diddy just sounds like a really difficult person to deal with in regular day-to-day life, right? Like, again, I don't know Diddy. I just know I've heard audio of him being very abrasive in audio that he's recorded. I've seen video. We all watched Making the Band back in the day where he'd be yelling at some of the Making the Band members and telling them to go walk and get cheesecake and just doing these like really, really cruel things to them, again, on camera. You know, he's already had a few cases in his past that he went through as a result of him being overly aggressive. And so I can imagine that if he's willing to be like that on camera, he's probably even more difficult to deal with when the cameras aren't there, because then he can really just let his, not trying to be funny, his freak flag fly to act however he wants. So I can imagine if you have a client that's difficult to deal with, and then you have evidence that's really pointing towards your client doing all the things that the public already assumes he's doing, that means it's gonna be hard to get a non-biased jury, and it's gonna be hard and harder and harder to convince that jury, let alone the people potentially watching this trial at home or reading about it in the papers or online or whatever, that Diddy did not in fact do this stuff, when there's plenty of evidence already out there that indicates he's that way. There's tons of stories from other people about Diddy going off on them, and that Steve Stout case where, you know, Nas's manager Steve Stout got beat up by Diddy, and that went to, like, there's so much stuff to where it's like, it'll be either he did do the stuff and it's gonna be a slam dunk, or if he didn't do this stuff, it's gonna be really, really hard to defend this guy, knowing that he's got a certain reputation and he's also difficult to deal with in person. So, hey, I know this lawyer probably had a big payday coming up as a result of doing this trial, but in the long run, he probably just looked at it and was like, it's really not worth it. And hey, I was a Diddy fan back in the day, so I don't like saying this stuff. I wish he could just go back to just making music and not have been the a-hole that the camera footage at large showed him out to actually be, but this is where we're at. So hopefully his other 5 lawyers can do the job they're supposed to do, but even I, as a Diddy fan, just do not see how he gets off on this. Bad phrasing of words. I don't see how he's gonna be able to be found not guilty for all these things, given that there's just so much evidence and that Diddy himself has not always been the best person. But hey, I could be tripping. Let me know in the comments if you think that Diddy still has a chance at actually being found not guilty in his trial, or if you think the lawyer actually made a great decision by bailing out on a case that he pretty much probably guesses he's not gonna be able to win. Anyway, guys, that's all I got for right now. I'm A.P.T. Songs. Thank you for checking out this episode of the No Cap Zone. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, and check out my new song, 1,000 Baby Oil Bottles, on sale and on all streaming services everywhere, so check it out. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace. I'm slicker than 1,000 baby oil bottles. If you ask him, did he do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm popping models. If you see me on the mic, you know I go at it full throttle. If you hate on me today, then you gon' really hate tomorrow. I'm slicker than 1,000 baby oil bottles. If you ask him, did he do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm popping models. If you see me on the mic, you know I go at it full throttle. If you hate on me today, then you